You don't know who she is. She's the district attorney of Atlanta, Georgia. Fannie T. Willis. Beautiful sister, highly educated and smart. Right? So let's go here next. RICO stands for, that's an acronym for Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. It is a United States federal law. It's the Fed's problem here, not a state's problem. It's a United States federal law that provides for extended criminal penalties and a civil cause of action for acts performed as part of an ongoing criminal organization, right? Let me pause that there. Let me get rid of that. And let me go here next. Okay. Under RICO, a person who has committed at least 2 acts of racketeering activity drawn from a list of 35 crimes. 27 of those 35 are federal crimes, and 8 of the 35 are state crimes, all within a 10-year period. Okay, so you think you're getting away with your stuff, they're purposely letting you get away with it. So you can fit this requirement when they start the application for you. Within a 10-year period can be charged with racketeering. So it got to be 10 years. Guys, listen to what I'm reading. Within a 10-year period can be charged with racketeering if such acts are related in one of 4 specified ways to an enterprise. Those found guilty of racketeering can be fined up to $25,000 and sentenced to 20 years in prison. So when I'm reading these words, please think of Young Thug and Gunna and those 25 or 28 left people who are locked up. And the other 2 that Fannie T. Willis said that they're looking at. She's looking at other high-profile rappers, okay? Lil Baby is rumored to be one of them. So, those found guilty of racketeering can be fined up to $25,000 and sentenced to 20 years. Think of Young Thug. Every time I say racketeering or anything I read where some time, some fine, think of Young Thug. Young Thug, if he's found guilty of racketeering, can be fined up to $25,000 and sentenced to 20 years in prison per racketeering count, per count. In addition, the racketeer must forfeit all ill-gotten gains. So everything you have acquired from racketeering are no longer yours during your trial. And interest in any business game through a pattern of racketeering activity. So anything any business you extorted, no longer yours, gone. Okay, let's get to the next slide. Next slide. Next slide, please. It gets worse. Okay. A U.S. attorney named Fannie T. Willis, who decides to indict someone under RICO, has the option of seeking a pretrial restraining order or injunction to temporarily seize a defendant's assets and prevent the transfer of potentially forfeitable property, and to require the defendant to put up a performance bond. That provision was placed in the law because of the owners of mafia-related shell corporations. Shell corporations are bullshit companies as guys to, I guess, money launder for the illegal activities. But it's a bullshit, it's a front. It's a front to cover for the illegal activity, the illegal racketeering activity. Is YSL a front? I think that's legit. So that won't probably fall in that. But shell companies, okay, often absconded with the assets. So these shell companies, once they get locked up for racketeering, or is rumored, they will take all the assets out of those shell companies and stash them somewhere. The money and the cars, where stash them somewhere. Tools. So they are aware of that. An injunction or performance bond ensures that there is something to seize in the event of a guilty verdict. Because once you're found guilty, those possessions you have will go to somebody, and it's going to be the victims of your racketeering. Okay? Or the state will take them. But you will no longer have those possessions. That's what they get into. Okay, slide number 4. Slide number 4. Slide number 4. In many cases, the threat of a RICO indictment can force, so the threat of a RICO indictment can force defendants to plead guilty to lesser charges. In many cases, the threat of a RICO indictment can force Young Thug to plead to guilty or lesser charges, in part because of the seizures of assets will make it difficult to pay, will make it difficult for Young Thug to and Gunna to pay a defense attorney. Despite its harsh provisions, a RICO-related charge is considered easy to prove. Oh my God, they're in trouble in court since it focuses on patterns of behavior as opposed to criminal acts. Behavioral patterns, not what you physically have done. RICO also permits a private individual damage in his business or property by a racketeer. So a victim of this racketeer to file a civil suit against the racketeer. The plaintiff must prove the existence of an enterprise. So you must prove the existence of an enterprise, and all you gotta do is look up the feds already did the research for you. Just take that research and there you go. The defendant or defendants are not the enterprise. So Young Thug is not the enterprise. In other words, or Gunna, the defendant or defendants and the enterprise are not one and the same, like an LLC. Okay. Now we're getting to it. That's slide number 4. Now it's slide number 5. This is a lot of research I did for it. I mean, a couple of hours. And all this is my copy and paste and formatted so beautifully for you. It didn't look this good on Wikipedia and other websites. There must be one of 4 specified relationships between the defendant or defendant and the enterprise. Either the defendant or defendants invested the proceeds of the pattern of racketeering activity into the enterprise, or the defendant or as defendants acquired or maintained an interest in or control of the enterprise through the pattern of racketeering activity. Number 3, or the defendant, or plural, conducted or participated in the affairs of the enterprise through the pattern of racketeering activity. Or 4, or the defendant conspired to do one of the above. Right? Please be sent hash with me. Now we're getting somewhere. Slide number 6. This is gonna hurt. This is what's gonna bankrupt, or this was gonna possibly bankrupt Young Thug and Gunna. Anyone worthy of any high esteem, any money. This is what's gonna bankrupt them, or possibly bankrupt them, right here. Both the criminal and the civil components allow the recovery of treble damages. What is treble damage? What is treble damages? I will bring it to you. Everybody covered this story, but they never mentioned treble damages. I wonder how much research they did. This is triple the amount of actual compensatory damages. So if you were going to seek compensation damages from Young Thug because he shot at you, he hit you with a bullet, he robbed you, extorted you, and you were going to seek compensation damages of $1 million. Well, because he's involved in a racketeering scheme, you can triple that amount to legally 3 million. So if it was anybody else that was absent of a racketeering case, you can only sue for your 1 million, your 500,000, your 30,000, your $500. But because he's part of a racketeering investigation, he's been found guilty of racketeering. You can multiply that original amount times 3, and you will win that. Okay, most likely you'll win. That's called treble damages. Right? Moving along. Moving along. In United States law, treble damages is a term that indicates that a statute permits a court to triple the amount of the actual compensatory damages to be awarded to a prevailing plaintiff. Treble damages are a multiple of and not addition to. So it's not something added to the amount. You just multiply by 3. Actual damages in some instances. On occasion, there are additives. So in some occasions, there are added amounts, right? On occasion. So whatever you got, whatever you're going to be awarded, whatever amount you'll be awarded, sometimes there is an additional amount. When such damages are multiplicative and a person receives an award of 100 for an injury, a court applying treble damages will raise the award to 300. You see, times 3, like I said, times 3. Some statutes mandate awards of treble damages for all violations. That's gonna hurt. So if they got them for extorting, murder, oh my God, times 3 each one. Some states, you better hope Atlanta, Georgia ain't one of them. All right, next. So it's probably this next one. Let me see what the chat talking about. I gotta be nosy. Okay, so no ma'am, everybody stay in peace. Haskell said, man, going to jail sex with a, I already read that. Decent says the theory is someone has something, so check every car. You can, right. And with the rentals, man, with the right lawyer, they got to prove that wasn't there before you. Like, I don't know how you could, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like that last brother and sister, his girlfriend, man, they were the smartest so far from all these traffic stops. They were the only ones we know to the DA didn't even want to touch them. They said, nah. Fannie T. Willis said, nah. Them two we ain't gonna touch. Because this, we got nothing. Although we found some cocaine worth $100,000 in his car, or the car he was possessing, the sloppy police work and the fact it's a rental, and we can't prove that's his, because where it was hidden in the trunk is not like in the back seat or somewhere in the front seat where you can say, yeah, you seen that? Or the glove compartment, because it's not in the hidden in the trunk below the spare tire. It's possible the last guy, especially that car, was in a shootout. So they didn't want to touch that one. They said, nah, but you got it. So he got that off. Well, he's out of $100,000 with the product, so he got to see his boss on that one. But if his boss is a businessman in that field, he should understand the risk. When they transport, it's a likelihood that they'll be caught. But he should be proud that the money was seized and nobody was caught, because then nobody snitched. And he's safe. You dig? Let me clear my throat. The idea. Now watch this, because the logic behind treble damages, treble, T-R-E-B-L-E. The idea behind treble damages is that they will encourage citizens who are normally afraid to be involved. They want to encourage those people to sue for violations that are harmful to society in general and deter the violator from committing future violations. Although RICO's primary intent. So now, Tariq Nasheed, What made you think that RICO was invented for the mob only? See, that's nigga babble. That's prison garbage. Although RICO's primary intent was to deal with organized crime is far, that's a huge net, larger than just mafia stuff, extortions and murders, other things I'm going to show you. Remember Ocean's 11? Remember Ocean's 11, Ocean 12, Ocean 13? They get caught. RICO. That's organized crime. Now you got a better picture of what RICO is, right? Organized crime. Got to be organized. Ocean's 11, RICO. Who watched The Town? Who watched Casino? No, I'm sorry. Who watched Heat? Who watched Heat with Robert De Niro when he went to the bank? Organized crime. Who watched The Town? Possibly organized crime. Possibly. Them in Heat, organized crime, possibly. You dig? Although RICO's primary intent was to deal with organized crime, it wasn't supposed to only apply to the mob. Congress didn't want one set of rules for blue collar, or excuse that right there. I meant blue collar. I did the D was a mistake. Okay, I was typing real fast. I got hella slides. Okay, not a lot, but I got like maybe almost 20 slides in a short period of time. So I was thinking of collard greens, you dig? So please forgive me for that mistake. I didn't have a chance to check the spelling right there. So blue collar, it's meant to say blue collar crimes. And another set, so Congress didn't want one set of rules for blue collar crimes and another set for those whose collars are white. And you see the double, you see it got collars, you see, there you go. I got an S there. You see it's a typo. And then it's a redundant, it's a repeated word. So that last sentence didn't make any sense altogether. But this is me trying to hurry up because it's getting late and I don't want to be falling asleep like I did last 2 nights on a live, you dig? So I'm trying to hurry up. But anyway, it's supposed to be collars. So they didn't want to set up, so let me just clear it up right here on the live. They didn't want one set of rules for blue collar crimes and another set of rules for white collar crimes. So RICO wasn't just only for the mob, because that would be blue collar. They wanted all collar crimes under RICO, right? So, but at the time, the mafia was big and their crimes were like the biggest at that time. So they had to deal with that. So snitches be bitches when bitches be snitching. I ain't holding for nobody. Work solo. Yeah. I'm gonna show those boys again, man. Those black dudes that robbed that jewelry store. If you want a clean heist, those black boys did that thing perfectly, man. And some speculate. I'll talk to the next officer. He speculates those same guys that robbed that jewelry store so smooth, without anybody getting hurt, without them even raising a gun towards somebody. They suspect when it was a detective, they would have automatically thought the person who robbed that pastor, who should have been robbed, by the way, that wasn't funny. Yeah, that pastor, the money he got was legal, right? The church willingly gave it to him. What he does with it is his own business, and the church didn't complain, so it's not a scam. It's not a scam. It only begins to become a scam is when your clients or customers complain. The church didn't complain. They felt like that's money well spent. So don't hate on his hustle. Don't hate. Don't watch his pocket. It's legal money. Don't hate. We only hate when it's illegal. When it's illegal. Okay, we don't hate when it's legal. So now we disapprove what he does with the money because what he's supposed to represent, what he stands for. But the church gives the nod, says none of our business. We're not a part of that church. We don't donate to that church. We don't patronize that church. We don't pray with the church. We don't do anything with the church, with that particular church. That's none of our business. No different than a real estate company or a car lot. The owner can F the money up by spending lavishly with material stuff. You know what I mean? That's private. That's amongst them. So, but anyway, an ex-detective said that he would have right away suspected that the people who did that heist so smooth did that church also, because that thing was smooth as well, without any resort or any inclination of violence. You dig? So those brothers are very smooth and they're good at what they do. And I hate to condone illegal activities and I hate bum niggas, but damn, I'm amazed with them brothers. I hope they don't get caught. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I said it. I hope they don't get caught. If they're the same crew, I hope they don't get caught. Hopefully the church had insurance, they get all their stuff back. Hopefully, I hope that's the case with them. But those brothers, I hope the brothers stop, by the way. I hope they don't keep doing it. I hope they actually stop because you're eventually gonna get caught. But they are very smooth and professional in their heist. They're like Ocean's 11. If you like Ocean's 11, they don't hate on those brothers. See, I like Ocean's 11. That's why I can't hate. I like the town, so I can't hate. I like heat. I can't hate. These guys are smooth, man. I like them. Okay, am I done? I'm done here. But like I said, those typos I actually can fix right now. I'm so much of a perfectionist. We're going to add another set for white collar crime. Dang. Come on now. Stop playing with him. I'm really him. I'm really him. I hope y'all gonna see that. I'm really him. So let me read it over. Although RICO's primary intent was to deal with organized crime, it wasn't supposed to only apply to the mob. Congress didn't want one set of rules for blue. God damn, that D right there. Let me fix this. Yeah, all right. I fixed my typos. You dig? Nobody can talk fast to me. It's fixed. Oh shit, I didn't do that. Oh my god, I did this ridiculous. Oh boy. Yo, how did you do the whole thing? All right. I didn't mess up big time. Oh my god. Now I got a typo here. Where's the word in? Where's the word in? Oh my god. I didn't mess this up big time. I'll fix it later. I'll fix it later. I'll fix it later. I'll fix it later. I already read it. I corrected it. You got it. I'll fix it later. God damn. All right. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. But I'm nosy. Let me see the chat. Let me see the chat getting on me. Yeah, nah, those definitely crickets. Okay, I'm outside. Y'all know how to do it. I'm outside every night. Say if someone goes to war with me, my heart, my family, I'm snitching, and I don't give a f. But it depends. What will hurt your word? Yeah, yeah, man. I'm saying right now. Yeah, right now. It's still preservation over here. I can't give you 4 hours of my time, let alone years. It ain't happening, is there? Chauncey, peace. Blessing that part. Good fellas. Yeah, I was gonna say good fellas. I was gonna say good fellas. But since I say he, yeah, but I ain't say good fellas because he actually got locked up. That's why he got locked up twice. That's why I say good fellas. He got locked up the first time, and he did his time and got out. Second time he snitched. That's why I say good fellas. He got caught. But they all got caught. But you get what I'm saying. He got caught early. The first ever RICO trial was conducted in May 1979. And let's see if it has anything to do with the mafia. Since you guys want to say, hey, man, it was for the mafia only. So why are you dealing with these young thug killing ass niggas selling drugs too? You dig? Do the same thing that the mafia would do with anybody else. Because it wasn't so. The first ever RICO trial was conducted in May 1979, the United States versus Sam Bailey gang in the Northern District of California, and it did not involve the mafia. but rather a bunch of postal burglars who collaborated criminally in an organized crime fashion. Okay, they were not mafia. They were a bunch of postal burglars, and they got hit off. They got hit up, knocked off. Yeah, I never watched The Godfather. To be honest, I never watched The Godfather. But what's the movie? What's the movie where? Oh, I watched The Untouchables. The Untouchables is tough. I watched The Untouchables. Yeah, but those definitely crazy. So now let me go into modern day. All right, so I dealt with the history of the RICO. So now you can't mention RICO without mentioning Mayor Rudy. No, yeah, what was his name? Giuliani. So before he was mayor, he was a district attorney. In 1986, Rudy Giuliani indicted 11 organized crime figures, including the heads of New York's so-called five families. Under the RICO Act, and also Latin Kings were caught up in this. A lot of people were caught up in this RICO charge. And Latin King is not mafia. Under the RICO Act, on charges including extortion, labor racketeering, and murder for hire, Time magazine called the cases of cases. The case of cases. Possibly, let me read that over. Time magazine called the case of cases possibly the most significant assault on the infrastructure of organized crime since the high command of the Chicago Mafia was swept away in 1943. Postal burglaries, I don't know. I did not research that. Let me look it up for you. Yeah, we do. Because my first time hearing that, I automatically thought post office. I'm like, and I left it like that. I didn't think to even go into further with that. But here, let's do it together. Postal scan. Okay, let's see what this says. According to the indictment, the 110 gang uses murder, robberies, assault, threats, and firearms to control the gang's territory and to expand the gang's power and reputation. The gang also sells drugs and commits credit card fraud to make money. The indictment alleges that the following defendants, all residents of Syracuse, New York, are members or associated with of the 110 gang. So they got everything here. So Spanky, Jamar, these bunch of dudes, black dudes. Rashawn, yeah, these are black. When was this? Oh, I think I read it in 79. Yeah, 79. Wow. 110 games. But with the black guys by the name. Yeah, so there you go. Why they were called postal, I can't tell you. There's 14 of them. Hey, dog. I don't know why they were called postal. Let me try to find that. This case is being investigated by the United States Postal Inspection Service. Yeah, it didn't really tell you why they were called the postal gang there. I'm not even sure that was the actual case. That could be something totally different. Okay, so this is 2022. That's not it. So I don't even know how to find it. Maybe put 1979. And is this it right here? Nope. This is maybe. Nah. Yeah, I can't tell you. I didn't know what to look for. This is on the fly. That seems like I look for later. I had no idea. Okay, so let's get to the next slide. Next slide. Let me read some comments first. What's going on in the chat? Okay, so let me read some next slide. Next slide. Yeah, try to look it up for us. Okay, so I'm almost done with the origins and the definition of RICO. Okay, I went through the origins and some history. I defined it, and I'm gonna wrap it up with this right here. Right. So let me share my screen. Then I'm gonna go to modern day RICO that deals with Young Thug and his YSL label. Okay, Young Slime something. So under the law, the meaning of racketeering activity includes any violation of state statutes against gambling, murder, kidnapping, extortion, arson, robbery, bribery, dealing in obscene matter, or dealing in a controlled substance or listed chemical as defined in the Controlled Substance Act. Any act of bribery, counterfeiting, theft, embezzlement, fraud, dealing in obscene matter, obstruction of justice, slavery, racketeering, gambling, money laundering, commission of murder for hire, and many other offenses covered under the Federal Criminal Code Title 18. Okay, so now I'm going to warn you. They're going to show a Roman numeral number, and I ain't gonna be able to read it to you. You got to tell me what it is. I don't read Roman numerals. Okay, I must have skipped it. I gotta go back. Also included was embezzlement of union funds. That's definitely mafia. Bankruptcy fraud or securities fraud. Drug trafficking, long-term and elaborate drug networks can also be prosecuted using the continuing criminal enterprise statute. Criminal copyright infringement, money laundering, and related offenses, bringing in, aiding, or assisting aliens in illegally entering the country if the action was for financial gain. That makes me want to look up next time I do a story on Black Mafia, BMS. Interesting. I like that story. And I also want to do on Jeff Fort. I think True Story and brought up Jeff Fort, somebody. But I think I skipped one. And yeah, I skipped something. I apologize. I skipped something. So let me go back. And I haven't even had time to even Google what Roman numeral this is. Matter of fact, I'll do it right now so I can make a fool of myself. Okay, so let's see what this means. This is, oh my God. Oh, 9. Okay, I got it. It's 9. Okay, so it was enacted as Title 9 of the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970. I forgot this slide. It's supposed to have been presented. And sign it. So it's giving the history of the act. Okay. So it was enacted as Title 9 of the Organized Crime Control Act of 1970 and signed into law by U.S. President Richard M. Nixon. While its original use in the 1970s was to prosecute the mafia as well as others who were actively engaged in organized crime, its later application has been more widespread. Racketeering is a type of organized crime in which the perpetrators set up a coercive, fraudulent, extortionary, or otherwise illegal coordinated scheme of operation, a racket, to repeatedly or consistently collect a profit. So money, 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 money. All right. Let me move on. Slide, slide, slide. I got slides. So, okay, so I ended the history, the origins, and the definition of RICO. So now we're going to go into Georgia. We're going to magnify Georgia because this is the latest big news where it came from, Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, so Georgia's RICO Act. Listen to me carefully. Let's stop being stupid listening to Tariq Nasheed and other blackologists. Every state has the right to adapt an act and modify it. Okay? So when Georgia took on a RICO Act, they made modifications. They took out what they didn't like and they added what they liked. So it's known as the Georgia's RICO Act. Abortion, same way. Abortion, the state can give exceptions if the mother is going to die, a rape happened, you know what I mean? They can do that. Some states say, nah, no abortion, regardless of what. You dig? Probably Utah, because Utah is heavily religious. I don't know the Mormons. Well, the Mormon was becoming more modernized. So I respect them because they became like their religion who be trying to adapt with modern times. Their religion, nevertheless, but they try to adapt with modern times. So a lot of their beliefs, they was adjusting. Like the whole polygamy thing, they started to adjust that. And that's more than we could say from other religions. And this is why, if it comes to Christianity, I like the non-denominational church above all, because they are, if you want to work on a church member or a church pastor, if you want any chance of convincing or influencing, your best chance, I believe, is with a non-denominational church. Okay, and you'll find your best argument with those people, and you'll find like the best interpretation of the Bible with those people. They're a little different. They're open. They're non-denominational. That means they take from this, they take from that, they take from this, they take from that, and they leave from this, leave from that, leave from that, leave from this. The non-denominational doctrine is subject to change. Okay, they don't have a sound doctrine. They also adapt with time. A lot of them don't call themselves Christians. They understand Christian was a slang. Not a slang. It was a goddamn. It was a epithet. Okay, so they understand that. So they understand like there's no Christians. There are no Christians. They're just God's people and whatever the Bible calls those people, believers, whatever. The sheep, the flock. So that's why. Just the side note. I kind of respect the religions who don't mind modifying and trying to coincide with the time. They're not stuck in the goddamn Stone Age. Anyway, Georgia's RICO Act. The recording artist Young Thug, whose legal name is Jeffrey Williams, faces a slew of accusations from Fulton County District Attorney, including that he was allegedly a founder and active leader of the violent Young Slime live street gang. So now we know what YSL means. Young Slime Life street gang. And slime, y'all want to know what slime means? I'll Google that a little later for you guys. You know I'm not making stuff up. The slime goes over your head. And all of them that's a member had at some point either had a track or a video cover album with green stuff all like green slime all over it. You dig? RICO. According to Georgia RICO's Act, this is how they define RICO. It is a crime for any person through a pattern of racketeering activity to acquire or maintain any interest in or control of any type of property or business under the Georgia RICO law. And they're saying YSL fits in the business category. Okay? So bear with me while I go to the next slide. Slide 14. Again, like this was, you know what I mean? Before I did a lot of reading. I did a lot of editing. This is not, look at it, this ain't no damn PowerPoint, right? So the law at the federal and the state and at the state level is often used to target organized crime. In the US, the Federal RICO Act was blacks cannot go to heaven. The more in the U.S., well, if they said that, I would respect that change, because evolution is about improvement, right? So they're improving. That's called reformation, right? They are going through reformation, and also the non-denominational church is going through reformation. That's why I don't. People like I did before, like rah, you doing this? I leave people alone, especially when they're growing. I leave them alone. So in the U.S., the Federal RICO Act was originally used to indict mob activity. States like Georgia, they singled out Georgia. States like Georgia have adopted their own version of the law as well. So stop comparing Georgia's RICO Act to the RICO Act of Chicago or New York. Stop doing it, Tariq Nasheed. Start reading. Start reading. They got their own stipulations. The law itself only requires, now listen what they're saying about Georgia, not New Jersey, not Minneapolis, not Texas, not Arizona, not the UK. Georgia, the law itself only requires, only means they honing in on something different than the federal RICO, right? This is state law. For this channel, I tell you, federal and state law are different. They don't have to be the same, but state law cannot contradict or violate federal law. But it could do something that federal law hasn't done. Okay, so their version of their RICO Act, because don't forget the RICO Act, the RICO Act is a federal law. It's not state. So state adopted it and made their twist on it. Georgia, in this case, Georgia only requires the state to prove that some group of people is committing a pattern of other crimes under the RICO law. You see, it's not so broad like the RICO we just read. They only want you to do this. That can include simple stuff like theft or murder or drugs or prostitution. 3 of the 4, I know they're pinning on YSL. As long as you can show a pattern of 2 or more crimes, what happened? What happened? As long as you can show a pattern of 2 or more crimes committed by this group of people that are organized together, YSL, they're organized together. They're called YSL, Young Slime Life. They're called a name. And it's members, active members by name. Okay? So, as long as you can show a pattern of 2 or more crimes committed by this group of people, YSL, that are organized together, you have a potential RICO case. So stop acting like Georgia law has to be the same as the origins of the RICO federal law. No, Georgia has a different opinion on how this thing should work. Okay, now, almost done. 2 slides left. Look at this right here. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. And I'm going to play this again. So tomorrow, heads up, as a spoiler, I'm going to play this again for the people who didn't see it. You know, people come on late. Some people come in the morning. Not everybody's available during this time. So that's why sometimes I play it live again. So it's not to like for any other purposes in your weird sick mind. I played it live twice for the people who don't come on late night. Okay. Nasty buzzing. Okay. So the state must prove. Listen to what the state must prove. The state, Georgia's own law, modified. The state must prove, and these are all my slides. I did everything. Okay, all the red, all the bold, all my stuff. A lot of work for you guys and for myself. Don't forget, no, ma'am. So when you said that I'm playing videos for you guys, it's really for both of us, right? For you and I. Okay, because a lot of this stuff I want to know anyway. So I just share it with you guys because maybe you want to know it, or maybe it's an interest to you. And in the videos I play, it's for not just for you, it's for me, and not just for me, it's for you. It goes both ways. Because I want to know if you guys are interested, what I'm interested in. Because I think you are. That's why I dare to play it. You know, you guys can be bored and nobody show up, 0 people. I would still do it, by the way, because I just will have a record of it. The state must prove, because I do a lot of videos and it goes unlisted. So YouTube, when you upload a video, you got 3 options. You can make it private where nobody can access it but you, only your account. You can make it unlisted, means that it's on the web. It can be found only if you share a link to people. Nobody can find your video unless you share your link. Private, you can't share that link. It won't come up. It'll come up as no content or this is private. Unlisted means Only people can see it who gets this link. This party invitation. That's it. Public is the other option. That means everybody can find it. So they type it in, they might get lucky and find it. So the state must prove the defendant committed 2 or more predicate crimes, that the predicate acts were committed as part of an enterprise, YSL, engaging in a pattern of racketeering activity, and that either. Here's the last slide. Last slide. All right, ready for the last slide. So the last slide is going to give you it's going to forecast Young Thugs and Gunna State, but definitely Young Thugs. That either one or more of the acts that formed the pattern resulted in the defendant acquiring or maintaining. Okay, so one or more of the acts that the pattern resulted in Young Thug acquiring or maintaining control of any enterprise like YSL, real property or personal property, including money, or Young Thug was employed by or associated with an enterprise through a pattern of racketeering employed by YSL. Specifically with Young Thug, he's looking at the RICO charge, a conspiracy to commit RICO charge, as well as participation in a criminal street gang. Same kind of punishment for that offense can be 5 years, up to 20. What does that mean? When you're charged with RICO, you cannot escape the mandatory minimum of 5 years. Okay? What does mandatory minimum mean? It says it in the word. I know the watcher and some of you guys pick it up right away. But for those who didn't, no problem. Mandatory minimum means that a judge, a jury, cannot sentence you, or the judge, really. The judge cannot sentence you for minimum less than 5 years. So if it's at an auction and I'm selling this cologne, I set or I'm going to stock exchange, right? Better yet, because this is more popular to us that goes online selling products. If you use stock exchange to sell your product, if you put or other things also out there, but if you put a starting number to bid at, let's say $5, and they say $5, but it's really worth $50, you were just bluffing. Too late. You have to sell that product for $5. And guess what? Once you say $5, you cannot sell it less than $5. That's a mandatory minimum, or you place the own mandatory minimum on yourself. You put $5 for the price of your product, starting at $5. So in prison terms, a mandatory minimum sentence of 5 years means that you cannot serve less than 5. It has to be 5 years or more. So if Young Thug if he gets convicted, he has to serve 5 years at the very least. And it's up to 20 years. So I don't think he'll do more than 20. I don't know, because I read some stuff about some mafia guy. They did 100 years. They're big, so I don't know. But that's all I have on that.